big controversial one that's going out right now. In the comic books, Marvel unveiled a new white Black Panther. It's a bold twist in Wakandan legacy. And strangely enough, that's actually not Winston. That's Coy doing an impression of Winston laughing. Marvel gives Black Panther a radical twist with a new white version of the iconic hero. Here's everything you need to know about the bold transformation. This is by Changeable. There's new people in this site now. The Marvel Knights, the World to Come collection has just launched with its first issue, and it is already revolutionizing social media and conversations about those who closely follow the comic book universe. And no wonder, the bearer of the Black Panther model is an unexpected, controversial figure, and for many, difficult to fit in. The reason: the new Black Panther is white. So the story, written by Christopher Priest and drawn by Joe Quesada, gets off to a strong start. T'Challa, the King of Wakanda, dies an old man, but far from being a finale, his death is the starting point of inherited personal and deeply political conflict. For his death, T'Challa leaves behind a complicated legacy, and after Storm died in an event called the Race War, the former King of Wakanda made a drastic decision to have a child with Monica Lynn, one of his former partners in the comic. The goal: to ensure the continuity of his lineage, but as is often the case in the MCU, nothing is as simple as it seems. Kedema, the unexpected heir. T'Challa and Monica Lynn's son is named Kedema. He grows up resenting his father and eventually challenges him for the throne of Wakanda. He defeats him, though spares his life for reasons yet to be revealed, and takes his place as a new Black Panther. So far, this might seem a powerful plot of redemption or family comic, but the twist comes when Kedema takes off his mask and he is white. Yes, you're reading that right. The heir to Wakanda and the new wearer of the vibranium protector suit is not of African descent, a twist that has undoubtedly raised many questions and more than a few eyebrows. How is it possible that T'Challa and Monica Lynn's son is white? This is where the mystery deepens. One theory suggests that he might not actually be the son of Monica Lynn, but of Nicole Adams, another former love of T'Challa's, who curiously appears on the cover of issue 3 on the same series. Nicole was presumed dead years ago, but in the comics world, that rarely means anything definitive. Another possibility is that there's a more complex explanation behind it, something related to genetic engineering, cloning, or even alternate realities. You never know with Marvel, and that's part of the claim. New Black Panther, new conflict beyond the genetic or narrative continuity debate. What's truly shaking up the reading continuity is what the creative decision means. Can a character like Black Panther, so deeply tied to African identity and the cultural legacy of Wakanda, be represented by a white character? Is it an intentional provocation, a metaphor, or simply a way to break with the established order? It doesn't stop there, guys, because there's also now, let me show you this one. This is
come on.
They did the Ryan Gosling. Fans react to the Marvel Comics controversial Black Panther reveal. Yesterday's news that Marvel Comics has introduced a white guy as the new Black Panther was met with about as much backlash as you'd expect, and fans have been sharing their thoughts on social media. We're not sure if there's much point in even putting a spoiler tag here, since the news is now all over the internet, but just in case, major issues. Okay, we reported yesterday. We just read all this. What's to see? Yeah, because someone said, there was another thing about, either way, the big reveal comes in a lot of backlash. That's Christopher Priest is going back to Marvel Comics, right? Black Panther. We saw that already. I guess there's something about, where is it? I can't remember. Ryan Gosling. Someone said, could Ryan Gosling actually play back Black Panther now because of this and the meetings? And the answer is absolutely. There's no world that Kevin Feige is going to make that happen.
But
Winston,
also,
what do you feel about all of this?
Ryan Gosling don't want the smoke. Right. And it's too new of a story. Typically they're not adopting stories that just happened. You know what I mean? Like you need some space in between there. But
okay, it is great to have Turtle Beach back. And I've been talking about Turtle Beach. You guys have been raving about Turtle Beach, and why wouldn't you? The Stealth 700 headset that I got, it was so great. It just stood out to me was the sound, man. Like just playing that Indiana Jones game, as I've told you guys, you could just hear every little thing. I love it. And it locks me in. It's better than the other previous headsets I've had. I don't like being aware that there's other things going on around me. I like being locked into it and hearing every bit of the sound design and just comfortability, to be honest with you. I could wear them for hours. I did. It's almost like they're so comfortable in my head. I was like, oh, I didn't realize I have these things on. I love how precise the audio is. I just feel like I'm so locked into the game when I'm doing it. And it's like that feeling I get when I'm in the theater. I'm just in the world because of the sound. I love sound. You guys know that. The other thing that's great about it is the 80-hour battery. That's crazy. I mean, you don't even feel like you ever have to even charge it. the worst is you're playing something and then it just craps out on you, and you're like, oh no. The Stealth 700, it has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. What it means is that you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and your PC with just a click of the button. It gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. Listen to your favorite songs while gaming, and it's all done with the Stealth 700. And this is the easy part. You head to turtlebeach.com, use that code Kristian for 10% off your entire order. 10% off at turtlebeach.com with the promo code Kristian. But you're going to purchase it, and then they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? You say, our show. You support our show, you tell them that we sent you, and get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today.
Look, man, I think it's...
Can I ask an ignorant question? Can I ask
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So if he is T'Challa's son,
he'd be mixed,
but
he would still be black.
Because there's tons of, like, you look. I mean, Zoe Kravitz, right? Not Zoe Kravitz. Who am I thinking of? Shoot, there was someone who recently. Alicia Keys. Yeah. Who most times you talk about Alicia Keys, she talks to herself as a black woman, right?
Yeah.
So if this character said, "My father's T'Challa," is he not also black?
Yes, he would be. That's right. I mean, and the funny thing is we don't need to get into like a whole history lesson here, but it's a lot of it has to do with the one drop rule and all of that kind of stuff. Like the idea is that it really is a split between the two. You know what I'm saying? It's you are black and you are white. The reason why people will typically just say, well, they're black is because of history of, well, you look black, so therefore you're black. That whole scenario. Right. But that being said, there's also a number of famous stories. The one that sticks out of my mind about 5 years ago of this African couple, like black, Wesley Snipes black, and they have a kid, and the kid comes out, and the kid is as white as the two of you, and they do a genetic test, and those are the kid's parents. It's just genetics happen sometimes. So my guess is this feels very Hydra Cap. I think it's meant to kind of stir the pot a little bit. There's something deeper at play here. I don't have a problem with it if we have a point. If there's no point other than the troll, then I'm like, why would you do that? But if we're getting to some deeper meaning, if we're getting to some secret agenda, something like that, then I actually think that would be interesting to explore, because the whole point of comics anyway is to try and explore stuff like that. But you better have a point. That is ultimately where I'm getting at with the story.
Someone just brought it up, and I was going to say too, is that like Haley Steinfeld in Sinners,
right? One drop rule, exactly. Right. She's an eighth, but she presents as white,
right? And so, speaking of that movie, people keep asking because Kate was supposed to be on this week. Kate and I shot that 3 days ago. The reaction was done yesterday. I have been dealing with so many copyrights on that reaction, and I'm sure you guys were too.
It's music, like it's a music-based movie.
Well, I didn't get hit with that. I got hit more so with just clips and stuff too, and so it probably won't come out until tomorrow. But it's a really funny reaction. Kate is not funny throughout the whole thing, but in the beginning of it, like us talking, because Kate's husband hated the movie, right? And I said,
he hated Sinners,
yeah, and we couldn't. And so Kate went into it going, "Oh, all I know is that my husband hates it." And I said, I go, he might be the only person I know. But what do you feel? And at the end, I go, at the end, I go, Kate, so is your husband a crazy person? She goes, a crazy person.
Well, okay. I take it. I know another person that doesn't make any sense if they don't like it, but kind of hated the movie.
Who?
My mom.
Really?
I don't know what it was. She was just like, there was a lot going on. Why there had to be so much blood? I half the time people just talk about stuff. There was a lot. Like, I don't know. It just and I was like,
but I got us off course. I apologize, Winston. I got us off course. Coy, your thoughts on all of this? Do you anything about as far as the comic? Because I agree with Winston. I think if there's a point to it, it definitely was meant for conversation, which it's doing. If there's a point to it overall, it could work. But the bigger question is, does Marvel ever do this in live action? No way.
The MCU is not casting logic. It's not happening. I think
I just took a second to click. I was like, logic. I mean, I hope they would logically. Oh, yeah, I see what you did.
But I do think it is an opportunity for exactly what Winston said, to have a kind of swoop in, start with controversy, have something to say. I don't think you outline this by doing the first 3 of a 6-issue arc. I think you go, hey, this is how it ends. This is why it's worth whatever it's going to be. Hydra Cap isn't a story I loved, but it is a story that got people reading comics. I think it's a very tricky thing because when you have something like Hydra Cap, it kind of just becomes a meme. Like, people don't know the actual arc. They know the buttons. They know, in Ultimates, this A doesn't stand for France. They know the big iconic moments. So I worry that the juice has to be worth the squeeze for all the people that are never going to read it, that are now just going to go, well, we've had so much race swapping, it's about time it goes the other way. My only concern is the bad faith takes that are going to come from it.
Yes.
That needs to be such a good ending that it's worth all the actual racists having something to talk about, because actual racists are going to use it in malevolent ways. So it needs to have a very benevolent ending to warrant this story.
Fully agree with that. That was, and I guess you did it. See, normally whenever I repeat the stuff that y'all say, I don't add anything to it. You've expanded, you expanded a decent amount there, and that's kind of what I was getting at, is exactly that. There needs, that point better be very clear, because you are intentionally wading into some muddy water to do this. So like, it better be on point. That's all I'm saying. It better be a transcendent story.
It is so literally the Kirk Lazarus decision, and that had a reason. And I think that's one of the funniest movies of all time.
Yeah.
I think that movie had a lot to say about the very delicate thing it was saying, but in a very, funny and action-packed way. But it had something to say. This needs to have something to say. But think about how many people use Kirk Lazarus, Tropic Thunder, as the surface, and so that's what this is going to deal with, but on a much bigger scale.
Well, there you go. Now, thoughts. A, what are your thoughts about the fact that Marvel did this in the comic book? B, is there any world where they do this in live action? I'm pretty sure I know most of the answers. All right.